everyone, welcome to Fridays with Charlie. Today we're going to be talking about if we think we fit into typical male gender roles. Yes and no. It's kind of like, what is a typical male gender role? And like Danielle said in Lex's video, it can either be heteronormatively typical or homonormatively typical. I identify as queer. I date both men and women, have only been in long-term relationships with women, but I've been sexual with both. People often identify me as bisexual. I just like to call myself queer. People often tell me that I have a very balanced mixture of masculine and feminine energy, and I don't think that's just because I'm trans. I definitely think that has a lot to do with it, but the longer I transition or, am living this as a transsexual man, the less I care about adhering to normal stereotypes. And this is different for everyone, but we can agree that, the traditional masculine role of being a stoic person that doesn't, you don't show emotion, you're tough, you don't show fear, you like sports, all these typical things. No. I definitely show emotion. I'm not afraid to cry. I am animated when I talk. A lot of that comes from female socialization. A lot of that comes from just being me. And I've learned not to hold myself to such rigid, standards or stereotypes. And also, I have to say, though, being seen this way and having these cues, such as a beard or deep voice, and, being able to be perceived as male upon looking at me, that helps me feel comfortable to be more feminine. So when I was first starting, I was pre-T or early on, I definitely tried to be, especially in the way I presented my gender, I would wear button-downs and polos and try to look a little more conservative. I live in a conservative area. This is before I moved to San Francisco, so I also was kind of trying to fit into masculinity around me, and I've talked a lot about alternative masculinity in my videos, and you start to transition, and it's not just like, okay, I transition to male, and you're a male. It's like, what kind of male? There's a whole broad spectrum of maleness, and I'm across the board. Like, I feel just as comfortable going to a skate park and hanging out with straight dudes that do not know I'm trans as I do going to a gay bar and chatting up a gay guy. I definitely feel more comfortable in queer worlds, but I feel comfortable in a world where I don't have to feel limited in my expression, in my presentation, and in my action. So when I first started out, I was trying so hard to adhere to it more, and it was more so I would be recognized as male, because obviously now I don't have to do that. I don't have to, by what I wear, that doesn't have to denote my gender. People get that just by looking at me. So I can go surfing or something and feel really manly and like, oh yeah, I'm so, but and then I can wear a rabbit fur and feel like a diva and have a dance party. I try not to limit myself, and really we can get into a whole philosophical discussion of what is gender? What are gender roles? And Danielle made a lot of really good points. She and Lex had a really great video. If you didn't watch Lex's video, go watch it. But just about how Lex is ahead of the curve, and that's where society is going. I did a lot of research reading into the psychology of boys when I lived in San Francisco, and it was so fascinating to see how basically by the age of 5 or 6, little boys, we don't comfort them anymore. We tell them, you can't cry. Basically we raise these men to be insensitive, and Danielle had said that society is going that way. Like, we're raising men and boys to be men that feel, that show emotions, that aren't afraid to cry, that aren't afraid to be sweet and just be themselves. Men are so sensitive, so much more sensitive than I ever knew or thought. Not only having, 9 years of testosterone on my brain, but being able to enter spaces where I wouldn't have pre-transition, and really seeing men open up, and it's like, no, they have emotions too, and it's very confining for them to have to fit into that, and it hurts anyone to have to fit into a box, as you know, if you're trans, or even if you're not trans, to have to put labels on everything and define it. That can just get so tedious and just mind-numbing. So, yes and no. I fit in, and I don't, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm me. I've heard a lot of times, like, oh, you're a perfect balance of male and female, and a lot of people get really upset by the best of both worlds comment, and I can see if it's meant in a fetishy way, but I do like that people feel that balance around me, and I feel balanced in a lot of ways, not just in my gender, but just, I think that's just one of the many things that's just a part of my personality. So, definitely more comfortable now, expressing my more feminine side, queer side, but also so aware of space and how to move through the world without taking advantage of my male privilege, and being aware of women and what they have to go through, and really having more sympathy for men. It's really amazing. I'm trying to cut them some slack some. But basically, yes, I do fit into that. When I'm with a woman, I definitely feel like the male, but I also don't like my queerness is erased if I'm out with a woman and I'm seen as straight. But at the same time, when I'm with a woman and we're seen as a heterosexual couple, I don't consider us that. And we don't have these stereotypical roles where she cooks the dinner and I take out the trash. It actually is kind of reverse, where I end up cooking and cleaning and stuff, and I'm almost like the house husband. I'm totally fine with that. So I don't adhere to these stereotypical things within relationships either. That has been so freeing, and it's taken a long time to kind of develop that, you know. I've never wanted to be like a typical guy. I just want to be seen as male, and now that I am, it gives you the freedom to explore what kind of male you are, and that's awesome. So yes, I do think I fit into a typical male gender role in both a homosexual and heterosexual context, but at the same time I feel like I'm breaking those norms all the time, or in all areas of my life. So that's it. See you guys next week. Peace.